How's it going today? I thought I would do something a little different, and just short, is the differences between some of the options you have for scripting. For example, we have 3 ways for a trigger. So I have 2 objects here. I have an object with a rigid body and a cube, which is marked as trigger. So if I wanted to, I could add a FSM, and in it I could just right click, add a state, right click, add a global transition, say a system event, and trigger enter. And in here I could we can debug something, debug log, and say Playmaker trigger event or something, I don't know. Right, and if I hit enter, you see now that's pretty fast, right? Super fast. Okay, well I didn't get the debug log part unless it's I have my thing tweaked that way. But anyways, you can see it is working, right? Super fast, super easy. Anyways, it works. We can see it working. So I thought I would show 2 other versions. So the difference in things, if I want to add Unity's, Bolt, like the visual scripting, if I added a state machine and we were like, oh, let's make a graph, right? Or something, we can be like, okay, we'll make a graph and be like, my triggers or something, right? I can edit, and this is what the visual scripting actually looks like in the graph. So if we enter this, we have enter, update, and exit, and this will look a little more like code compared to Playmaker, obviously. But if I do on trigger enter, I now have this guy, right? So we have all these different things. I don't have to use these things. I can delete these things if I wanted to. And from here, I could say debug log, and then we can put a message in here, or we can add. Let's just put a string in here, and the string will be like visual scripting. Right, and now I can close that, and if I hit play, you can see if I move over, visual scripting, it worked. Right, so there's a trigger through the visual scripting, and I should be able to watch this one live unless they've changed it. See, ba-doop. Okay, cool. Right, just like that. And of course, the regular way is I can just say make a new script and be like, you can do something like this. That's not what I was looking at. And then I'm going to show you a 4th sneaky way. 4th way, dun dun dun. Kind of a 4th way. So in here, this is kind of the same thing as if no, there's no point. I deleted them, but you had that in the state one, in the visual scripting, where you had the enter and the update. Same idea, right? Now in Playmaker, everything kind of starts in the start, and then we go from there, depending on how you build the FSM, and it's the whole point of the FSM. But by code. And this doesn't have to be public. I'm going to make it public because I'm just so used to it. I can say on trigger enter. And I can get the same thing. And now I can say debug.log from scripting. And then we close it off. And that's it. Right, so I'll save that. What that do, it's compiling crap. And it has that guy on there. And now if I hit play, I can move them in, and we see the I am from scripting, and we see the visual scripting. Both of those fired, right? We go into the playmaker, we see it's on trigger enter, and now we've done 3 different ways to do triggers. So now the 4th way won't really work with the 3D per se. It's kind of more of a 2D thing. Like if I have an image, right? And the image, which is now way the hell down there, because I mean, ultimately you can use that the same thing. Like here we have the 3 different methods. Obviously they have a different call than the on trigger enter for this, but the same concept. But the other thing the Unity does have is the event triggers, right? So you can add trigger for these things, right? For dragging and so forth. So let's say, you know, on pointer down, right? And then you have Unity events. So we could do stuff. We could say, we can tell this thing to be deactive. We're going to tell it to go away, to unactivate, right? And that's on this little system, right? So if I click on it, there you go. So it was this guy actually firing that off, right? So Unity does have some built-in stuff, a few things, nothing crazy, but I figured I better bring those in too. So sometimes there's not necessarily a need to do some of that stuff, but those are 3 different main ways in Unity, I guess, to communicate scripts and stuff like that for things. Obviously much different. I primarily focus on Playmaker, but all 3 are fully capable. So just a final note on that. I mean, if anyone's really curious, or if they want to see kind of more of a collaboration on the scripting, by all means let me know in the comments. I can multitask, right? We can see, you know, if we want to build a character controller in Playmaker versus visual scripting versus just regular scripting, or how all that kind of looks differently. I'm quite capable of doing all that. Just curious, random things.